What's up, YouTube? It's the Action Figure Grader coming back to you with a quick review video. And I thought I'd show you guys a beautiful Return of the Jedi card back with the second best bounty hunter in the galaxy, Bossk. I don't know what it is about him. He really had no lines other than some growling and gargling, but as you guys know, I really like him a lot, and I've got a couple of loose examples here, which I've shown you in previous videos that you guys can look up. But I just picked up fairly recently this 77A back Return of the Jedi version of Bossk. Obviously, I'd like to get a near mint example of him on the ESB card back, since that's where he made his appearance. But this one was on sale online, and I couldn't pass it up. It's a beautiful figure. So let's take a closer look at it. So this is a 77A back, and you know, obviously it's got quite a bit of yellowing on it, and so that's probably why it was so cheap. But it's just a really nice figure, and obviously the card art is just amazing. I've always loved that card art. It's clean with no offers on the front or back, and it is also unpunched, as you can see there. And, you know, I think, it's hard to tell because of all the yellowing, but I think it's the exact same figure that you see here on your left. The most common version of Bossk is this one. This is the olive head with the flat paint for the limbs. I've shown you guys this one as well. This is the olive head with the glossy paint. You can see the glossy kind of limbs there versus the one here where it's you know, more of a matte finish to the limbs. So the matte finish is the one that's the most common. This is definitely a matte finish. It's hard to tell what color the head is because of all the yellow, but you know, it looks like it's the same. It's the same head. So which makes sense because it's a made in Hong Kong figure. But let's take a look at this card back, though. It's just absolutely gorgeous. As you can see here, and I've talked about this in a recent video, the weapon has come loose from the tape. So the figure subscore, which I'll show you in a second, is obviously at best an 80 once that happens. But, you know, AFA does not ding you for yellowing of the bubble. They mark it as yellowed, but in terms of, you know, the actual subscore for the bubble, they're not going to ding you for it. And I thought the other interesting thing about this is that the bubble barely fits this figure. It's, you know, Bossk is one of the larger figures in the line, you know, with the exception of IG88, and you can see his head barely fits in there, and so it's kind of just punching a little bit at the top there. I went back and did some research online, and that's very common for these Kenner US card backs. You know, they kind of stuff Bossk in there, and so you're going to see a little bit of a push up there. You know, the bubble slants upwards just a little bit, so it barely fits him in there, but you know, it's going to, you know, kind of push up at the very top of that bubble. Some of the Palatoy bubbles, and obviously the Tri-Logo bubbles, you know, obviously there's enough room for him to fit properly, but these Kenner card backs, he didn't fit very well. So here's the grading label: 1983 Kenner Star Wars Return of the Jedi 77 back A Bossk, and he's an 85 yellowed, near mint plus. The card got an 85, bubble got an 85, figure got an 80 because of the tape issue, but, you know, it's a very nice addition to my collection. The card is you know, very flat, and here's the back of the cards for you guys to take a look at. Collect all 77. There's no blacked out Ewoks on here, and, you know, it's got the standard kind of Return of the Jedi action playset and vehicle kind of things going on at the bottom. And, you know, down here at the bottom, you can see where it's the figure's made in Hong Kong. So, you know, both of my loose graded figures of Bossk are made in Hong Kong, but this is basically this figure here, except, you know, in the bubble and on the card back still. So, very beautiful, though. I'm hoping at some point, you know, in the near future, I can get another ESB, Empire Strikes Back card back, you know, of Bossk. The early ones, like the 31 backs where he made his debut, are very expensive. There's a few Canadian card backs. I'd love to also get a Tri-Logo, but it's just so hard to find them. I swear, when I wasn't looking for him last year, I saw like 5 or 6 near mint Bosks on the Palatoy Tri-Logo cards come up. You know, they're already graded for sale for very reasonable prices. And of course, once I started looking for one, I have not seen it, but that's the way collecting goes sometimes, folks. And then, you know, as I mentioned in one of my other videos, there's a couple of other variants. There's an orange head Bossk with either the matte limbs or the gloss limbs. There's also a no COO, which you'd see on the Tri logo. It's slightly different. The most expensive ones are the PBP Spanish Bosks. There is a version that looks very similar to this, except he's got really big lips. He looks like the illegitimate offspring of Kermit the Frog and Miss Piggy, because looks like he's got lipstick on, but he's got the kind of lizard reptilian face. And then there's also another a very early PBP version of him with what's called the toxic green limbs, which is a very bright green, similar in green to, you know, if you see the nameplate on this card, that's what the limbs look like. Instead of that olive green color, it's like a very bright green, and those are extremely expensive. Even like a excellent score, like a 70 or 75 grade version of that toxic limbs Bossk will set you back several $1,000s. The last one I saw that sold was probably about a 75 grade. It was ungraded, but it was on Facebook, and that one sold for, I want to say, about $2,800 ungraded. So very, very expensive figure, and there's not many of them out there that have been confirmed. But it's not hard to tell what you got when you look at one. It's a very, very bright green limbs. Both the arms and the feet are very very bright green, but tough variant to get a hold of. I've seen maybe 2 or 3 sell in the last couple of years, but nevertheless, I really like this one. This is a nice addition to the collection, and I just thought I'd take a quick look at them for you. And my little Bossk collection is slowly growing. So, thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you soon.